Support for WBFO and What's Next comes from our members and from Health Foundation for Western and Central New York, where racial and socioeconomic health equity are prioritized. Learn more about building healthier neighborhoods at hfwcny.org.
I'm Jay Moran.
I'm Bridget Jaipal Valenza.
I'm Thomas O'Neill White.
We need to get together and let our voices be heard.
This is What's Next, a dedicated hour to have important conversations about the issues facing the marginalized and underrepresented communities of Western New York and Southern Ontario.
We're going to have some real healing. We've got to have space to tell some uncomfortable truth.
What's Next continues our mission to discuss race,
equity,
and the common concerns of Buffalo's East Side and beyond.
The suburban area, everywhere. We must work and teach our children.
This is What's Next, and I am your new guest host, Jillian Hanesworth. Today, I'm joined by Charles McCarley, the pastor of Tabernacle of Praise. How you doing?
Doing well. What's up, Jill?
I'm good. Happy to be here, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is phenomenal. I'm excited to be in your presence. I'm excited to be able to share some time with you. So it's great to be here.
So,
yes,
you're the pastor of Tabernacle of Praise, a.k.a. Top. Great people go to the top.
Great people go to the top. Come on, come on. Yes,
Tell us a
ma'am.
little bit about Tabernacle of Praise.
Tabernacle of Praise, a phenomenal group of people. We're located now on the east side of Buffalo. Tabernacle of Praise was established back in 1991, founder being Pastor Deborah Scott. She was amazing in what she was able to accomplish in her time. But even in that, there were a lot of shortcomings that she had to endure, basically because she felt that there were not a lot of women preachers or pastors, and they did not have the platform as men pastors. So it was a fight. It was a struggle in the beginning. You would think, wow, 1991, you would think that, no, it was still a lot of, oh, no, we don't deal with women pastors. You can't come here. You can't stand in my pulpit. You know how the traditional stuff go. And she had to really push through that and say, no, this is what God has called us to do. So she established the ministry, established this church, and through the years and trying to really get it off the ground, she became terminal ill with lung cancer, I believe. In the final year of her life, I began to come around, and that was my godmother. So she would say, Bear, I need you to come and speak. Yeah, she called me Bear. Bear, I need you to come and speak. And I did not have any idea what was going on. I did not know that she was ill. I did not know that she didn't have any other clergy there. It was just her really plowing that field. And she would have me come in and speak, and I would do one Sunday a month, and then it turned into twice a month, and then it eventually turned into speaking every Sunday. And I can remember it very clearly that, I started somewhere in January, and then by July she had passed on. So I had really 6 to 7 months. There were 6 to 7 months there before she passed on. Now I have been thrusted into something I did not ask for. Don't nobody, man, I ain't wasn't nobody trying to be nobody's pastor. Wasn't trying to be, head of no church. But I see that my path grew and was on a direction that I just didn't have no control over, but I still was able to say yes to that. And now 10 years later, here we are still pastoring this phenomenal church, and it's doing great things. So I'm very happy and proud to be a part of this ministry. I promise you, there's days. Yeah, there's some days, but overall, the Lord has been kind to us, and I'm grateful. Yeah.
Well, spoiler alert, I am a member of Tabernacle.
Come on now. Say it again. I don't think the people heard you.
I am a member of the Top, where great people go.
Come on. Yeah.
When I joined, the church was on Northland. So I technically am an OG because the church is not on Northland anymore. So now we're on Genesee.
Genesee
right?
Street.
Why Genesee? Like, what drew you to this community specifically?
Genesee Street. Well, as you said, we were right there on Wohlers and Northland, and that was a time we were about 7 years on Northland, and we were bouncing around even before we found that location. And that was really where the old folk would say you get to cut your teeth. So I was able to learn a whole lot on Northland Street, and it really thrusted me into a community mindset, because that community right there on Northland and Wohlers had everything I needed in order to really establish a church community relationship. There was a school there was housing there, and we found out that there was no, even though there were corner stores, it's a food desert in that area. And when we came through the May 14th shooting, when Tops was now shut down, there was nothing over there. We were able to now provide levels of support to the community, which really was like, okay, we are really drawn into this whole community thing. So Genesee Street is just now us expanding what we have already started and planted and practiced on Northland. So now that we have more space and more opportunity, I grew up on Genesee and Zinner, right there by Bailey. So I am basically back into my old stomping ground in that neighborhood. And I remember it when I was young, where predominantly once you crossed over Bailey, there were no black families. And we were right there. Zinner is right there, Windy, and then there's Bailey and where the McDonald's is. And then crossing over there, you didn't cross over Bailey if you were black. In that we did not go over there. We didn't have the privileges of going over to Schiller Park because we would get ran out. Trust me, I'm talking from experience. So this ain't nothing. I remember running down Genesee Street back over Bailey, and it was troublesome then. And now that our community has expanded, past Bailey, even going towards now the Pine Ridge area, I see that there is a great need for our people. And I'm noticing that there is a lot of changes that are now in our communities, where it was a predominantly white area that transitioned to a predominantly black area that now is transitioned to a predominantly, a Bangladesh area. There's a lot of those nationalities that are now, and it's a blended community. So we're learning how to service all people. There has been quite a bit of, it's a troublesome area. Not too long ago, the young boy who lost his life, it was right on the street that we are now located on, so that community is still in need of healing. And I'm grateful now that the Lord has allowed us to be a part of the healing process, that we're gonna do what we do, and we're gonna make it poppin', and we're gonna make it happen.
Make it poppin'.
Yeah, I'm old school now. We're gonna make it poppin'.
We're gonna work on our.
We're gonna work on my. All right,
slang.
help me out now. We'll help me out.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, right. we'll get on that. But one of the things that attracted me to TOP was the community involvement. Now, you definitely, once we kind of started sitting down and talking about ways to collaborate. I was working at Open Buffalo at the time. Eventually you were like, come to my church. Just come on a Sunday. Right. And it took a couple of years before I before I started coming for real. You were suffering from
commitment anxiety. I got you. Yeah. But we worked through it. Come on.
We worked through it. But the consistency, not just with me, but like with the community, was something that stuck out to me. I saw you come in and picking up school lunches or like the free lunch in the summer and going and giving them out to kids on Northland, the barbecues, the pantry, just kind of a whatever you need, I got you, I can help type of mentality. And for me, that is something that has been missing in the community, especially coming from the church. A lot of times we know that the church is a body of people and not a building, but a lot of times we don't see the people expand outside of the building in the way that is necessary to reach the community. And historically, especially in Black communities, the church, that is a moral leader.
Yes.
That's a political leader, a social leader. Like the church is where Malcolm X will go and meet to get on the same page with Christians. That's where, the Black agenda was birthed in the church. So seeing this kind of community relationship for me was really important. And I think it speaks to a larger issue or a larger conversation that we need to have as it pertains to the church's role in the fight for justice, the church's role in advocating for the community. What do you think is the church's position or responsibility when it comes to supporting and advocating for the needs of the community?
You're absolutely right, Jill. The church was I'm even going to say still is, but we've seen a more vibrant, active role in days past. The church was the epicenter of the community. It was the center. It was everything deemed from the church. The church was built upon community and fellowship because we couldn't get it nowhere else. It was the only place where Blacks, Browns could come and gather in peace and actually sometimes feel and have dignity about being Black.
Yeah.
Because once you walked out them doors, you were now immediately reminded of who you really are and what everything else was around you, living in a white city or a white world. You're right. So coming to the Black church, we were able to dress up. We were able to look. We were able to have dignity. We were able to have some pride about ourselves. And it became so popular. It became so contagious. Amen. I'm sorry. Amen. I'm sorry. Starting to, here we go.
It's the offering.
It's about to come. That's right. It became so contagious that, it spread it out throughout the city that, even there had to be agendas to try and shut that down because, once we come together, we can accomplish anything.
Power in the people.
We can do anything. Come on, power of the people. And other peoples did not like that. We find that even in scripture, if you will, where they speak to Pharaoh and they say, the people, what if they ever lift up their head and realize that we are outnumbered, that these Israelites we got enslaved, that are putting their heads down and tilling the mud, if they would ever realize who they really are and what they bring, and they will understand that they're stronger and better together, we would be no match for them. So what we got to do, we have to destroy that feeling, destroy that sense of hope, destroy that. And that's what they really did.
Yeah.
They begin to infiltrate the church by dismantling the family. Understand that the churches aren't strong by themselves. It doesn't start with the church. It starts with the family. So if you have a strong family, strong families create strong churches. Strong churches create strong communities. And then strong communities will create a strong city. Strong cities create a strong country. But it all starts with the family. So if I can dismantle the family, everything else will domino effect and fall out of place. So look at our homes. We don't have family dinners no more. Look at our homes. We don't come and sit to the tables anymore. These were structures, and these were, in the family, that was a necessity. You sat with Big Mama and learned how to pop peas, right? Nowadays, you got steamables that you throw in the microwave. Ain't nobody sitting there learning nothing. So we've lost that aspect, and then we're still trying to hold on to, the importance of the church. Well, we got to start with the importance of the family. We got to go back to, the importance of a strong Black father in the home and a strong Black mother in the home, not trying to carry it all by herself, but we're raising our strong Black children together. And, then understand that we can't do it alone. We need a greater power. We need someone to work with us. And then the church now comes into partnership with the family. But if we can never get that partnership together, then we are weakened even in our communities, because you don't even respect the church for what it is.
Yeah.
You don't respect the pastor that's standing there. Back in the day, there was a reverence for the church. The pastor would come over dinner and, he automatically got the big piece of chicken. Yeah.
So you're trying to get the big piece of chicken.
I'm trying to get the big piece of, no. But there was a reverence there. Mm-hmm. And then there was a respect there, but now it's different. Now we're in the informational age. Now everything you're saying, I'm fact checking and I'm going and I'm Googling, and we've allowed that to kind of persuade us from what we really should be about. We should be about helping people. We should be about investing in our community. There's no reason why as many churches we have in our community that we don't have any credit unions, that we don't have any, that we're not sending all of our kids to college, not just an educational day for our particular group. No, we can put our funds together and create the Black Wall Street. How come we can't have one of those here in the city of Buffalo? I believe that as long as we continue to be segregated, then we're watering down the power and authority, not spiritually, but naturally, the power and authority that we carry, and we're not able to really help along the lines as we really are capable of doing.
Yeah,
we really are capable of doing a whole lot more, but we're distracted. We're segregated. We have all these denominations, and denominations should not stop us from working together. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand what you believe, but the truth of the matter is community should be a common denominator.
Yeah.
All of us should be working to better our communities. And for some, it's a priority, and for others, it's not,
Well, speaking of segregation, there's been this conversation online that has been happening recently. In light of the presidential election, there has been this conversation about the church and then the Black church as a separate body, a separate identity, right? Mm-hmm. The idea has been that the church is a Republican body, right? Mm-hmm. The church should vote one way, but then the Black church has been, I'm going to use the words that have been used in these videos I've been seeing online. They've been calling out the Black church for being a largely Democratic body. And we don't have to go into the conversation of should the church be Republican, should the church be Democrat. I think any logical person knows that people vote their own interests. So you might have a church with a lot of different political beliefs. You might have one body where there are people who are apolitical or don't believe in a party system at all. But can you speak to the idea that the Black church is somehow irresponsible for being more liberal in thought?
I do not even ascribe to the ideal. I know we say it as a form of ID, but there is no white church or Black church. When Jesus said, upon this rock I will build my church and the gates of hell will not prevail against, he did not make any specific. He didn't say upon this Black church I will build, upon this rock I will build my Black church, and I will over on this rock I'm going to build, my white church, and then a Chinese church, and there was no specifications there. So we are the church. Now the issue is that sometimes we get confused because we think that the president is supposed to align itself with biblical beliefs, and the president is not running for bishop.
I like that.
He's not running for bishop. He's not running to be installed as the pastor. So the president is a government official who is elected by the people. So therefore, he has to look out for all the people, right? Regardless of whatever they may be, they have to look out for the people.
Yeah.
So that people is incumbent of many facets of life. He has to be the president of Muslim faith. He has to be president of Buddhists. He has to be they have to be president of the people.
Right.
He's not running for a religious office. So therefore, I cannot say that the church needs to be heavily into the political game, because I've never really got down with the politicians, because what if you're saying something I don't like? I am not about to be bound in your back pocket, not being able to speak truth to power because you're saying something and I need something from you. No, so these senators, the mayor, whomever, I don't really follow or fall in line, because what if you saying I'm the one that's bound to Scripture? Right. And I'm going to hold accountable to Scripture. He's not holding accountable to Scripture. He's holding accountable to the people he served. Yeah. And it's my job to speak, hey, Mr., Sister, President, Mayor, blah, blah, blah. That's not going to benefit the people that we serve. This is what we need, and this is how we need to get it done. And I can be an opposing voice without worry of any type of repercussions, any type of backlash. No, because I was never in your pocket in the first place. The church needs to be able to stand and speak and not be worried about if you're going to cancel my project, if you're going to not let me get my building project off the ground. Building new homes, and you're not going to let me, I got to go through the chambers in order to get. No, even if I can't get it, the Lord will provide, right? So I'm going to speak, however, is placed upon my heart without fear of any ramifications. So the church needs to be in politics, outside of politics. We need to be able to speak to the kings. And then at the same time, we're in this city, so we have to also put into it. But at the same time, you got to be able to say, hey, all right, that ain't working. That doesn't, that's not right. And stop being a yes man or a yes woman to everything that these politicians are saying and letting them just run through our community as if we are nobodies and nothing. No, we are a powerful force once we come together. We are a powerful force once we are able to speak clearly without wondering if they're going to cancel our 501c3s. I think this whole segregation piece between the white church and the black church, there's the old saying, they're saying that the most segregated hour in America is Sunday morning during service, because the white folk gonna go to their church, black folk gonna go to their church, and then we never really come together. And it seems as, how can we be so segregated and separated, but we still call ourselves professing the same gospel? How can we be on two separate ends of the scale, but we all say that we're preaching and trying to reach the same people? I don't see that. And when I connect with my brothers and sisters, whether they're, suburban or inner city, I speak it the same. Like, no, y'all only thinking about your understanding from your experiences. Many of these people in the inner city did not grow up with those advantages or those opportunities. So you cannot place your experiences and blanket it across the city, because it doesn't work. We have different experiences. So for anyone to say and stand up and try to rebuke the entire black church lets me know that you haven't spent no time and try to come for the largest black Pentecostal organization in the world. Bruh, you tripping. And I am grateful and I applaud the Pentecostal church movement that they have responded with dignity. They have responded with tact. They have responded, through, how the Bible would suggest. And now, my question is, why are so many of our other white brothers and sisters so quiet? Where's your voice of rage? Where's your voice of concern? Don't come to the black church preaching about racism. Trust me. We know.
We get it.
We understand it. Come on. We don't need that sermon. That sermon needs to be had in your pulpit, because now if he's offending the so-called black church, that's what we're using it for now, then there should be some reprimand from that side as well.
Right.
And right now it's real quiet. It's real quiet.
So it sounds like you're saying like the responsibility of the church is not to politics, it's to the people surviving politics.
We become too political. Now I understand that there are some things that you have to be in order to change. I got that. But there's still a voice that's necessary on the outside that even checks them. Okay, you in there. But this is, if you're speaking for us, then you need to have our heart. You need to have, what we're we're saying, what we need, what we. I don't know. I'm just a pastor. What I know. But Scripture says that Esther went before the king, and she said, he's not summoning me, but me going there is a danger. But I got the weight of my people, because if I don't, they're going to die. They're going to be hung. They're going to be on these gallows. So I have to go in there and have a conversation with this king, even though it may cost me my life. Someone has to carry the weight of the people, and hear what we're saying. But once you get in there, don't forget about us. Don't forget, you get in there and they start promising you all this stuff, and you like, oh, they're going to be all right. Yeah, they made it this far. No, you have to still carry the voice of the people. And too many times the voice gets silent once they get in. So I prefer to stand on the outside and yell through the gate, and protest or whatever we got to do on the outside, so that we don't get it twisted. Can I still use that word? Yeah, can I? Is that all right?
I'll allow it.
You allow it. All right. So don't get it twisted. That that we're falling, subject to, because it's a beast. Yeah. And that machine will chew you up, spit you out, or conform you to something that you never intended to be. Yeah. So I keep a little distance. I keep a little distance, from the politicians, only so that I can speak a truth. Yeah. And don't have to be worried about, I know about speaking that truth, don't you?
I feel that.
Yeah, you be yelling it from the top of the, I'll be like, oh my God, Jill, you're killing me. Speak your truth, girl. Speak it.
I stress my pastor out sometimes. But I get that. I've had a lot of people ask, when are you running for office? When is your name going to be on the ballot? And I'm like, listen, I see myself as more of an agitator, accountability partner of sorts. Right. Somebody has to do that part. Yeah. So I totally understand that the church can play that role in holding people accountable and saying, as a united body, we will not vote for you if you do not meet our needs. And I think in a city like ours, Buffalo, right, where we've seen one mayor for, almost 20 years. This was the mayor when I was in high school. I'm about to be 32. We've seen one leadership body for so long, but we haven't seen a lot of change. There hasn't been collective socioeconomic growth for Black people in over 30 years in my lifetime. So when it comes to our city on a larger scale, especially we're going into a new identity, having a new mayor for the first time in forever. We have women on our common council. The identity of our leadership is changing. So as somebody who is aligned with the people and not necessarily with politics, if you could wave a magic wand and change things in our city while we have this, I won't say a clean slate, because you can never have a clean slate, but while we have this opportunity to redefine how our city works for us and how it functions for us, what would you do? What would Buffalo look like?
That is a very interesting question, because even though our government officials were in this whole transition period, I don't think my focus would be there. Again, I will still stand on the side that I am, because the Dr. Kings had a voice to presidents, the Malcolm X, they had voices to, world leaders. I think that if now that we have a clean slate, right, using your words, this clean slate of a new mayor and government officials that are coming in, the face of our government seems to be, shifting and changing. I still think my level of influence would still be focused on rallying and gathering a mindset amongst our people, our Black brothers and sisters, because the truth of the matter is that it don't matter who you put in office. If the people is not applying no pressure to say these are the things we need and deserve, then we're going to get the same thing we got for the last 20 years. So I would say that the focus needs to be to continue educating our citizens and educating our people and our young people to don't let up and don't release that pressure. The government officials are supposed to be working for us, right? Exactly. They're supposed to be working for us. They're supposed to have us in such value that, we should be seeing what we need in the city. But if no one's saying anything, if there's no voice of opposition, if there's even no desire and we've just gone with the flow, then there will never be any type of change that we need. There may be change for others.
Right.
My mama used to tell me, boy, if there's cranes in the city, there's money somewhere. And I'm like, all right, mama, you gonna preach tonight.
We have some cranes.
And you see if they're building and if they're still making investment, trust me, there's money coming from somewhere. So we have to figure out how to get into those conversations, how to be present. Why are all these contracts going to whomever? And we're not seeing those contracts into our black businesses and brown businesses. Where is all of these opportunities? And because, again, the mayor or the government, they're there to government people, not just us, but people. The saying is the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So who's making the most noise? Who's showing the most profit? Who's showing the most value? That's who they're going to lean toward. They can care less what nationality they are. And we're seeing that in our city. But if we will rally and then start holding our officials accountable, and the new mayor that comes in, not thinking we're just going to have more of the same. No, now we got some stuff we need done. Here's our voice. We need to see some things happen, in the police force and our firefighters. We need to see some stuff happen with our counselors, with all of those people. We need to see some things happen that will benefit not just black folk, but all of our people, and not just one particular nationality, not one particular people. So my focus would be on the people, because, you can put folk in office, but it's the people who need to apply pressure to make sure that the agendas are shifted in a direction that benefits all of us and not just one of us.
Yeah.
Feel me?
So can I ask you to do...
You feel me? Come on, I'm trying.
I got you.
All right.
I got you. Can I ask you to do one last thing before we leave today? So, as a pastor who believes in being directly connected to the community, direct outreach, involvement, not only systems change, but service work, showing up, I want you to give a call to action to other faith leaders in our city.
I will present this challenge, and predominantly to faith leaders, but basically to all leaders that will hear this broadcast. As we say in the church, everyone under the sound of my voice. There is plenty to do, and it requires collaboration. It requires all of us coming together and really putting some of our differences aside. We're talking about community. We're not talking about doctrine. So this is what I've always gone by, Jill, is, yes, I have all the education that I went through and got all of the degrees and stuff. But this is what I found out, and is why, for me personally, I don't have my degrees on my wall. Because when I'm out in this community and someone comes up to me and they're saying, can you help me? My child needs Pampers. Can you help me? My son is hungry. None of them ever ask me, do you have a doctorate? All they want to know is, can you help me? I believe sometimes we get too comfortable behind all of our achievements that we forget that ministry is about people. 20% about preaching, 80% about people. And we've reduced that percentage to an alarming rate that, it has now become more about preaching and platforms and lights, cameras, and action than it has become about people. I want to challenge our ministry workers and leaders to now begin to shift that ideology back to the people. I want you to really take a look at what your ministry is capable of, and work in the capacity that you can be in. Everyone can't do everything, and there are levels that we can all be a part of. Rather, even it's just your presence showing up at a gathering to let them know that we have your support. That goes a long way, just the ministry of presence. I believe that we can do it. I believe that it happens. If you need help, I'll tell you what we do. Stop by the top. 2205 Genesee Street, Buffalo, New York. Come on, hang through. We have 8:30 a.m. service and 12 p.m. service every Sunday, Wednesday night service. And you might even see Jill there one night.
Well, thank you for
What a
coming
pleasure.
and talking to me.
Yeah.
My first guest as the new guest host
Come
for
on now.
What's Next.
Stay with us. There's more to come. This is What's Next on WBFO.
You're listening to What's Next, our place to discuss the important issues of our communities of Western New York and Southern Ontario. We want to hear from you. Click on the Talk to Us option in the WBFO app, and we will work to get your questions or comments on the air. Do you have a story or concern that we should be addressing? Email us using whatsnext@wbfo.org. Together, we'll have the conversations that are needed. This is WBFO, your NPR station.
This is What's Next. I'm host Thomas O'Neill White, and today we are talking about some inroads the YMCA Buffalo Niagara is making on the east and west sides of Buffalo. Joining me today is Danielle Roberts, Vice President of Community Impact and Financial Development at the YMCA Buffalo Niagara, and Mike Baggerman, the YMCA Buffalo Niagara Director of Communications. Thank you both for being with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Danielle, real quick, tell us about what you do as VP of Community Impact.
Certainly. So my role as Vice President of Community Impact is really handling all of the financial development for YMCA Buffalo Niagara. And so that's all of our fundraisers, that includes our annual and capital campaigns. It includes our special events like the Turkey Trot and our annual gala. It also includes our government relations. We've been making an initiative to host community stakeholder breakfasts and make sure that we have great partners in our local and our state government. So it's really encompassing all of community impact.
Yeah, and we'll talk about Turkey Trot a little later. But the YMCA has made two pretty big announcements. This first one, a $10 million project on Buffalo's east side. It was announced over the summer, reimagining the William Emsley YMCA branch. And, there's some historical significance to the William Emsley YMCA branch. Obviously, it's moved around a couple times, but it was originally on Michigan Avenue. Is that right?
So there was a Y originally on Michigan Avenue that served that downtown and east side area. And so in 1982, the William Emsley Y was designed and built, and it has been a pillar of hope for the community on the east side since it's been there. We also used to have a Y on East Ferry. So the Y has been serving east side of Buffalo for over 4 decades.
What are some of the needs in the community that are being unmet, and what are some of the solutions that the YMCA Buffalo Niagara is offering?
Yeah, so this project is definitely about advancing equity for all, strengthening our community, and providing access and opportunity. We see that nearly 40% of children are facing poverty in the city of Buffalo. We know that there is food insecurity in the city of Buffalo. We know that there's limited access to mental health services in the city of Buffalo. And so this new project is designed to provide some solutions to some of the issues and struggles that people are facing in the city. It's designed to, yes, be a more modern, state-of-the-art facility, but it's also designed to bring in those community partners. We're looking at this to be a community hub where people can go and get those needs met. So one of the initiatives I'm very proud of that I was able to accomplish as executive director at William Emsley Y was a partnership with M&T Bank, where we have an actual bank branch inside of the William Emsley YMCA now. And there's also a drive-up ATM right outside of the Y. And so that is providing access to our community. It's also providing a safe place for financing where sometimes people don't trust, banking. And so they're learning financial literacy. And so we're going to continue that partnership in this new design, as well as some of our other partnerships.
And that's the banking is first of its kind in this area.
It certainly is the first of its kind, and we're able to do community events and classes partnering with M&T Bank. We're able to do money mentoring with the youth in our programs, so they're learning about financial literacy earlier. Things like first-time home buyers, or for people who are interested in starting a business. It's a whole host of financial resources and services that community certainly needs. And there are other partnerships that we're looking at as well for this project. We have started a partnership with Child and Family Services where we're providing free mental health counseling to the community, and that has already started. But the design will allow us to have a space and an office dedicated for that. So we're excited about those partnerships that are going to bring services.
So what was the impetus to say, hey, this is what we want to do on Buffalo's East Side? Was it just talking with community members, community stakeholders, and them saying, hey, we kind of need these things over in this neighborhood?
Certainly. I think that the Y over the years has been committed. I mean, the Y has been around since 1852. And so we have that longevity, that history of providing what the community needs. And I think that what the Y continues to do is to see what the need is and to try to provide those solutions. And I think with some of the traumas that the east side of Buffalo have seen, with May 14th happening in 2022, talking to community partners and just assessing the needs, we really want to focus on advancing and making equity available in the city of Buffalo.
And just to add on to that, one of the things, the core principles of the YMCA is, yes, we are about youth development, healthy living, but also we're a socially responsible organization.
Right.
For sure.
Our purpose is to strengthen the Buffalo and Western New York community, whether it's through our healthy living program, whether it's our summer camps. But at the end of the day, we want to make our community stronger. And there's an old adage I remember hearing that you're only as strong as the weakest link. And we want to try to identify those areas that are struggling in our community. So that's why we were really adamant that we want to do something important for the city's east side.
And Danielle, you mentioned 514, and that obviously put a huge spotlight on the lack of affordable and nutritious food, grocery stores on Buffalo's east side. Your solution is obviously, providing healthy foods and meal distribution programs. What does that look like?
Well, the Y is already doing that. I think we've been providing healthy meals to our children in our childcare programs. We also provide healthy meals to seniors at the Y, but having a larger space to partner with organizations like Feed More will allow us to be able to serve more and to increase the number of meals that we're able to get out. We see this opportunity to do partnerships and to make sure that we're able to meet those needs. So food insecurity is something that is very critical, and we want to make sure that we address that.
And just so we're clear, just on the facade side of things, this vision for William Emsley is similar to Independent Health YMCA, similar to Southtowns and the Lockport branches, the sort of newer branches.
Right. This is not just a little facelift. That we're intending to make it a state-of-the-art facility that will be able to access and serve more people in the city of Buffalo. It's going to take fundraising. It's planned to be a $10 million investment, and the project is really contingent upon the community support. The Y is a nonprofit organization, and we raise funds, and all of the funds that we raise go right back into serving the community. We believe in not turning anyone away for an inability to pay through our Access for All programs. So working parents can get childcare, or seniors on fixed income can get membership and access to the healthcare programs that they need. So this project is going to take the community rallying behind it and helping us to raise the money that we need to get it done.
And what's the start date on this project?
So it was just announced at the end of August. We do not have a start date for groundbreaking just yet. This is really in the beginning stages. If people want to get more information about it, they can go to our website, which is ymcabn.org. And you can find out how to get involved, how to contribute. And also you can see the renderings because the design is laid out and you can see all of the details of the plans and what we are looking to do. We've had some conversations with community foundations. We're going to be looking for government funding, private businesses. It's really going to take the community getting behind it and helping us to raise the dollars. And we love to have it done tomorrow, but it's going to take some time. Close in the near future, though.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's exciting times for the YMCA.
It's very exciting. And the feedback that we got when we announced it at our stakeholders breakfast, everyone is excited. Everyone can see the vision and understand the need.
And so this is just one announcement. There's another announcement, Camp Swan, a new initiative serving North Buffalo and West Side communities. What can you tell us about this camp?
So Camp Swan was something that came to fruition thanks in large part to a charitable donation from the William E. and Ann L. Swan Foundation. That was the name. Ann Swan was a former board of director at the YMCA, and sadly she had passed, but one of the final things that she did before she passed was to allocate the significant funding to make this project a reality. As we mentioned earlier, it's going to be a summer camp for kids, but it's also going to be used as a year-round event space. So we're going to have water safety programs. We're going to have healthy living programs such as our Fitness in the Parks program. We're going to do things year round at that place to make it an accessible community site. We announced that project coming to fruition back in July, and we've already are at 80% of our fundraising goal. So wow. we're anticipating groundbreaking in spring of next year on Camp Swan with the hope that it's going to be ready by the summer of 2026. Obviously, I'm sure you've done this plenty of stories about construction before, but it's a lot of it is very weather dependent. Mm-hmm. But I mean, this is a reality. It's going to be coming to the Western New York community, and it's going to have a profound impact on, obviously, the health disparities that are in our West Side community, but also it's going to provide youth employment opportunities. At the end of the day, it's inviting opportunities for communities that may not have had it before, and we're really excited about Camp Swan.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit more about this youth employment opportunities?
I'd say that YMCA Buffalo Niagara is one of the largest employers of young people in the area. And it's because we have so many summer camp sites. Mm-hmm. And I'll share a story. Is the YMCA was my first job when I was a teenager. I worked at the East Ferry YMCA, and I really saw firsthand how the Y was a place that kept teenagers safe and also offered a first job opportunity, whether that's becoming a lifeguard. Right now, we're actually hosting free lifeguard training programs. If you go on our website, you can register for a free lifeguard training program. And the intent is for us to be able to hire lifeguards. Across the city of Buffalo, there was a shortage of lifeguards where we couldn't even open pools in the city of Buffalo. And so the Y is doing our part to make sure that young people are learning that skill of becoming a lifeguard. Aside from lifeguarding, working in childcare, whether that is Child Watch, after school program, summer camp, we are one of the largest employers of young people, and that's impacting workforce development.
So with all these programs scheduled for Camp Swan, how many kids do you expect to have every single week?
Yeah, Camp Swan's going to be able to hold at least 150 kids, but that's the day camp program. We intend to also have youth sports programs running in the evening. We intend to be able to allow other organizations to utilize this space. It's going to be a great space that has green space, that has a outdoor track, that has an amphitheater, the pool area. So it's going to be a space that you would not normally see in the city, where people are going to have access to an amazing outdoor space for activities.
Now, where exactly is this going to be?
The address is 1984 Elmwood Avenue, so it's North Buffalo, just a little bit north of where Hurdle Ave. Currently, Danielle outlined what the future is. Right now, it's just woods. and there's fencing along the side, and there's a giant vacant lot next to it. But really, we're going to transform it from what it is right now, overgrown shrubbery and trees, to this beautiful site that's going to be used by so many people in the community. So again, this. Oftentimes people want to talk about what the future is and excitement about what could be. This is what it is going to be. Yeah. So we're super excited about that.
Yeah, and the amazing thing about that location, it's the city of Buffalo, it's Elmwood Avenue, but it's really backed up to neighborhood houses, and it's on a bus route.
Right.
It's accessible to Black Rock, to Kenmore, to the west side. Buffalo, it's centrally located, so people will be able to access this wonderful park-like setting from anywhere in the city.
And this was another, talking to community stakeholders about what was needed, because it was, a bit of a pivot from what was originally thought to be like another independent health center or Southtown center. But it seems like this is a more positive pivot to Camp Swan. But that was, talking with like community stakeholders and everything like that. Same type of deal that you had with talking with community stakeholders on the east side for the William Emsley Y. Sort of the same thing.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, we had plans for a new YMCA in North Buffalo, which obviously we had pivoted to become Camp Swan. But with this plan that we're doing in the East Side, I mean, we've been talking with community stakeholders, contacting our elected officials so that we can figure out, okay, what are the needs? What are the things that people need the most in our community? And we know that the YMCA is an important aspect of that, but we also know we can't do any of this stuff alone. Right. That's why it's so important that we partner with groups like Child and Family Services to provide these mental health resources. It's why we partner with groups like Feed More Western New York. When we get this new, upgraded, reimagined William Emsley YMCA, this is going to open up so many more opportunities for us to accomplish these goals to help people.
I wanted to obviously talk about this big event coming up, the Turkey Trot. Tell us what's new about Turkey Trot this year. And for people who don't know, I mean, you must be living under a rock if you don't know about Turkey Trot right now. But tell us about Turkey Trot. Tell us about what's new.
Turkey Trot. Okay, so this year is the 129th year of the Turkey Trot race. Wow. And it is the longest consecutively run race in the world. So like you said, you must be living under a rock if you don't know about Turkey Trot. We're excited because we know that on Thanksgiving morning, there's going to be 14,000 of our friends out ready to run an 8K race with us. And it's like a family reunion, right? Mm-hmm. Turkey Trot is a Buffalo tradition. And so we're super excited. But some of the new things is obviously there's a T-shirt design that's new every year. And we're really proud of the design that we have out this year, which is really a vintage type of look and a tribute to Buffalo's Pan-American history. So when you see that design, you can go to ymcaturkeytrot.org. You can buy T-shirts even if you don't register for the race, but there are still spots open to register for the race.
Well, okay, so now here's the question of the day. Danielle, are you running it?
I'm over it. So we mentioned earlier those job responsibilities. I will be up at 4 a.m. getting set for the Turkey Trot. It's a big ordeal. A lot goes into the planning of this event. And I've been with the Y going on 13 years. I have not missed a Turkey Trot at all in that time frame. So
okay,
I'm excited.
And Mike, are you running it? You'll be there.
Yeah, I'll be there. You're going to see me with a camera at the start and finish line. And by the time that the last trotter has crossed the finish line, I will have absolutely logged 5 miles worth of steps just by taking photos, running back and forth to the convention center. It's a huge production that we do on the back end with the Turkey Trot. But I mean, Danielle and I talked about our roles very briefly. But I mean, when it comes to the Turkey Trot, we have to send a huge kudos to our volunteers and our sponsors, because they're the ones that make the turkey trot as great as it is, whether it's people handing out water bottles along the finish line, whether it's our sponsors providing cool opportunities during the post-race party, and even just the people along the S-curves along Delaware Avenue, just chucking donuts down at people who are trotting the race. Stuff like that brings the turkey trot to life. And of course, we have a costume contest, and the turkey trot. A little history lesson. When it began in 1896, it was 6 people running along a dirt road. It's since grown to 14,000 people, and
really
you don't have to be a competitive runner or anything like that. We encourage people to dress up in costumes. Let's make it look like let's make a deal. That, you remember that show, How People Dress Up? We have that kind of energy to it, and you think about the turkey trot and its tradition. When people think about things to do in Buffalo, you go to a tailgate, you go get some wings, but Thanksgiving Day, the turkey trot is exactly where you want to be. And so we're so excited for
it's
that.
definitely a staple of the city and of Western New York as a whole. It's as you said, brings a lot of different good positive energy to running, which I don't know, a lot of people don't associate positive energy with running. It's more along the struggle bus lines, but
you can walk it too.
Yes,
that's why we don't say everyone's a runner. We say they're trotters, because you can walk it, you can run it, regardless. You're a trotter.
Yes, and thanks for bringing up the volunteer opportunity, Mike, because we do still need volunteers. And so if anyone is interested, please go to our website and sign up to volunteer or help out in any way.
All right. And this has been What's Next. I want to thank my guests, Danielle Roberts and Mike Baggerman from the YMCA Buffalo Niagara. This has been What's Next on Buffalo Toronto Public Media.
Support for WBFO and What's Next comes from our members and from Health Foundation for Western and Central New York, where racial and socioeconomic health equity are prioritized. Learn more about building healthier neighborhoods at hfwcny.org.